This Romanian man disappeared in 1991 and returned 30 years later wearing the same clothes with no memory. In 1991, there was a man named Vasile Gorgos, a 63-year-old farmer from Romania. One day, he went on a small business trip, leaving his family behind. However, he never returned home, and his family assumed he had passed away. 30 long years passed, and just when they thought they would never see him again, Vasile showed up at their doorstep wearing the same clothes he had on when he left. The people here rely on farming and taking care of animals. Usually, he would be back after a day or two. However, on this particular trip, he had been gone for several days with no contact, causing his family to worry. They contacted the police and initiated a search, but Vasile seemed to have vanished without a trace. Then, on August 29, 2021, a car pulled up in front of the Gorgos family house. Out stepped a 93-year-old Vasile Gorgos, shocking and confusing his family. Despite the passage of 3 decades, he was wearing the same clothes he had on when he left, and astonishingly, he still had the 30-year-old train ticket in his pocket. But there were many questions. Where was Vasile all these years? Why was he wearing the same clothes as when he left? On the other hand, other things that caught the most attention were what was found in his pockets: a train ticket from the Ploiești-Bacău route, from that day when he lost communication, and his ID card. Vasile seemed physically healthy after a medical checkup, but there were concerns about his mental state. When questioned about his whereabouts and the events of the last 30 years, Vasile calmly replied that he was at home. Strangely, he had no memory of the time that had passed. According to him, it had only been a few days since he left his family. His recollection of his house, family, and work from 30 years ago was clear and intact, but the subsequent years were a complete blank. Gorgos left home in 1991, after the closure of the Agricultural Production Cooperative, CAP, in the commune. Upon his return to the hometown, the family's efforts to find out where he had been for the past 30 years have been in vain. We don't understand him. He doesn't know what he's saying. He talks to us about the period when he was involved in raising and selling cows. We ask him one thing, and he tells us another. Who knows where he has been, who kept him? Maybe he was forced to work. Who knows what kind of life he led? Said the son of Gorgos, according to EVT Bacău. It was as if time had stood still for him, and he remained frozen in the past. The neighbors of the Gorgos family witnessed Vasile's return but were so astonished that they failed to note the car's number plate. Adding to the mystery, the driver quickly sped away the moment Vasile exited the vehicle. One theory suggests that he may have abandoned his family for a new life, and when his health declined, the new people in his life abandoned him, leading him back to his original family. Some people think Vasile might have left his life because he was unhappy. They believe he might have started a new journey but felt nostalgic for his original family as he got older. Another idea is that Vasile may have been forced to live a difficult life, like working as a slave in fields or taking care of animals. He might have returned because he couldn't work anymore or because the people who kept him captive passed away. A more creative idea suggests Vasile could have been abducted by aliens for experiments. However, this seems less likely because the abduction would have to last a long time, and it's not common to forget about it. In the field of psychiatry, some think Vasile may have experienced a dissociative escape. This means he could have had a decline in his thinking, leading to a loss of memories. Getting older might have brought back memories he had forgotten. Another psychiatric theory is that Vasile may have had dissociative personality disorder, which involves having 2 distinct personalities. However, this disorder usually happens in sporadic episodes, and living for decades with a different personality is not very likely. One possibility is that Vasile encountered a space-time anomaly, such as a wormhole or Einstein-Rosen bridge, during his train journey in 1991. This could explain why he believes he was only away for a couple of days, despite the passage of 30 years. However, the theory falls short in explaining why Vasile did not express shock upon realizing he was now 93 instead of 63. Might it be, for all of the suggestions above, that the disappearance and sudden reappearance of Vasile Gorgos might be more paranormal in nature and certainly not planned? After all, as has been noted by many of those who have taken an interest in the case, the fact that he owned cattle should tell us that he would not simply up and leave and not either take them with him or have them sold for the best possible price. Had he disappeared into a portal of some kind, or even to an inner world, perhaps taken there by a subterranean creature that is unknown to science and academia? Or might there have been some kind of glitch in space-time itself that transported him to another dimension or realm of existence? Such suggestions are preposterous to some, But if we call such cases as that of Stephen Kubatsky, who went missing for 18 months, admittedly a lot shorter time than 3 decades, before turning up at a relative's house with seemingly no memory of what had happened to him. Furthermore, he would refuse to speak about the incident, as if he was frightened of revealing the nature of his disappearance. One social media user, in the wake of Vasile's sudden reappearance, would recall an incident that occurred in the United States on Thanksgiving when his father's uncle excused himself in order to visit the grocery store to buy bread and a packet of cigarettes. However, the uncle in question simply didn't return, with none of the family having any idea what had happened to him. Then, one Thanksgiving 25 years later, the uncle returned, wearing the same clothes and carrying a packet of cigarettes and a loaf of bread. Even stranger, he refused to speak of where he had been and what had happened to him. Just what might he have witnessed, and where might he have witnessed it, and how dreadful must it have been that he refused to speak of it? After appearing, all of Gorgos' relatives tried to get an answer to so many questions that, today, continue to arise, because the grandfather had the same clothes, was perfectly cared for and cared for, had the train ticket and claimed to have always been over there. Until now, and a year after appearing, the license plates of the car that dropped Gorgos to his home have not been found, nor has it been possible to determine the place where he was all that time. The more questions, the fewer answers.